So let me just briefly talk a little bit about myself and why we are here to have this session. So yeah, I've been working as a management consultant, and yeah, I'm Vivian for those who we already chat on WeChat or on LinkedIn. So so I've been working as a management consultant and business analyst since 2018 across large corporates here in Australia. So yeah, over the last few years, I noticed something big happening because we are in 2026 and then over starting from 2020 and then 2023, 2025 being last year. And then I saw this. Like I saw a lot of smart, capable people, they're getting stuck. It's not because they lack ability. It's because the job market was rapidly changing with AI and outsourcing. I'm going to explain you a little bit more, but then you will be so surprised at how cheap the cost will be. So that's why I started to help more than 400 people transition into an analytical, future-proof roles. So there are roles, they're well paid, hard to be outsourced, and highly valued across industries. So yeah, I'm really excited to share with you today the exact framework I use to help people to make the shift. So today we're going to talk about is something that affects every one of us. Whether we work in payroll, we work in finance, we work in admin, we work in operations, customer service, data, we work everywhere, even as a software developer. And then that's happening. And that is how do you build a career that AI, automation, and outsourcing cannot replace, yet you can still target 150 plus, 150K plus. Because the truth is, our job titles, they are never the problems. It's the tasks inside the job. They are changing faster than people realize. Because, yeah, because when you see the task, it can be repeated, it can be replaced by a machine, and then that's everything happens. So yeah, before we dive in, I want to check in with you because this will really help you to get the most out of today. So let me ask you a very quick question. Who already feels that shift? So you can quick hands up or type yes in the chat. Yeah, and then if you've noticed any of these in your company, for example, new AI tools, and automation projects, and then outsourcing and teams getting smaller or being restructured, you can just put yes, yes in the chat. I got people still in. I see a few yeses. Yeah, because that's what we see, and that's what we feel. Automation, yes. Thanks, guys. So yeah, let me ask you another quick question. Which one describes you right now? A, my job still feels stable, but I'm not sure for how long. Or B, I can feel things shifting and it makes me nervous. And C, I know I need to upgrade my skills. I'm just not sure where to start. So let me repeat this again. A, my job feels stable, but I'm not sure for how long. That's the first option. And then B, I can feel things shifting and yeah, it starts to make me nervous. And C, I need to upgrade my skills. Not sure where to start. I know there will be a few A's, a few B's, a few C's. And then I'm just curious to know where most of the people sit. A, B, C, B, C, B, C. Oh my God, a lot of C. I need to upgrade. Yeah, I'm not too surprised. Ah, great. So, you know what, I can already see a lot of frustration there. So let's talk a little bit about the first frustration I see in so many people that I work with. Because just imagine you are already doing your job very well, maybe even better than before, but somehow it just doesn't feel like progress and that the work keeps piling up and yet that's more repetitive, more automated, but it's less recognized. Being saying your work yourself, it's being less recognized. So you see systems doing more of what you used to do, but no one's really explaining. No one's really explaining what that means for you. And really deep down, you might be thinking in a very quiet way, I'm working harder than ever, but am I actually moving forward? So if that's familiar, you're not alone. That's exactly where the conversation begins. And here's the second thing. And a lot of people tell me this, like, Vivian, I know AI is here. I know outsourcing is happening. I know my role is changing, but I still have no idea where to start. And as I see a lot of C's in this chat, and then you know what? Honestly, this is way more common than you think. Because most of the people aren't confused about whether they need to change. They're confused about how to change and where to go next. So that's the feeling of, let's say, I want to step out, I want to move into something more stable, and I want to move into something more strategic. But what exactly am I supposed to jump into? Because you're busy, you're capable, you're aware of the shift happening around you, but really nobody ever taught you the actual pathway. So, and then we feel like we end up stuck in the same place, not because we're not trying, but because the direction isn't really clear. And yeah, that's exactly what today is here for. So I want
Why
to
did you
kind
just do that?
uh
Hmm?
She
Vera,
didn't put
could you please
her
mute yourself?
step take yesterday.
She didn't?
I'm asking you, what the heck?
Let me give me one sec.
You didn't do it today, right? Yesterday.
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, give one sec. Give me one sec. There is a bit tech issues. Mhm. Let me go back to presenter view and let me share that again. Sorry, some tech issues. All right, where am I? So yeah. So you have a feeling that you want to have a change because most people are confused about whether they need to change. And yeah, they're confused about how to change and where to go next. So it's that feeling of, oh, I want to step out, I want to move into something more stable, I want to move into something more strategic, etc., etc. But what exactly am I supposed to jump into? Because yeah, because then you will have a feeling like I know where I'm going and yeah, and I want you to have that feeling of I know where I'm going and I know how to start after the session today. And the third one, the next. Here is the third frustration, the one that is the hardest to admit. Because you want to change, you've probably been thinking about it for a while. But part of you is wondering, what if I can't catch up? What if it's too late? What if the market is full? What if there's so many what ifs? So you've seen others pivot into new roles, pick up new skills, move ahead, and you want it too. But yeah, between work, family, kids, everything else, it's easy to lose confidence or just question if you're ready. So you know what the truth is, it's not about being fearless. It's just about having the right roadmap and have a start. And then that's exactly what this session is here to give you, and a lot of clarity, direction, and confidence to take that to the next step. Slightly, let's touch on why this topic really matters before we jump into our next exercise. Because I promise everyone we will do a very quick assessment. But then before everything, I really want to let you know I'm gonna show a few numbers here. So you know, over the past years, we've all seen that. So AI, automation, outsourcing, they're changing how works get done. But really, the tricky thing is it's done very quietly. So you can see these changes in a very quiet way. Maybe some of the reports you used to do, they are now automated. Maybe part of your teamwork has been removed overseas. Or maybe you've just had that little thought, what if my role and what if my role get changed next? Because I promise you're not imagining that, but you're definitely not the only one who feels that way. Because the truth is, a lot of smart, hardworking professionals, we are doing more than ever. But we, do we really move forward? Because we are told to adapt, but no one tells us how. So, yeah. So let's do a quick career scorecard, as I mentioned together, those kind of the mini self-check to help you to see how future ready your current role really is and what are the small steps you can take next. And really, my goal is simple, that by the end of this session, we can walk away with some more confidence and direction. And you can, yeah, direction than you had even when you before you even joined. A few numbers. So yeah, zoom out for a moment and look at the industries where things are really shifting, especially the roles that feel manual or repeatable. So take accounting and payroll, for example. Many organizations are outsourcing bookkeeping, APAR, payroll functions. In fact, the global accounting outsourcing market is projected to be, project to be 80 billion, I think. Yeah, 80 billion US dollars. That's a lot. So, yeah, imagine there will be 80 billion dollars by 2030. And then that's only in US. And imagine how big it is worldwide. And then we're in Australia and it's impossible that you can't feel that. And then in payroll and HR functions, nearly 1 in 3 US companies in recent data has outsourced at least one HR task. So 3 companies you've seen, one of them already outsourced one HR task. So payroll being the most common. And then let's look at banking and finance operations. We've all know this news from the Big Four last year in Australia. So yeah, they aren't just about tellers anymore. Back office, compliance, reporting, customer service, they're being reshaped by AI and outsourcing. And then finally, when we talk about customer service and contact centers, we replace them with AI assistants and chatbots, automation, so that the frontline human roles are under pressure. So yeah, really, if you're working in any of these areas, accounting, payroll, customer service, banking operations, you might already feel the shift, the outsourcing talk around your teams. Maybe a quiet question like, oh, what happens next? So yeah, that's exactly why we're here today, because the work you do might still be valuable, but the way you are valuable is changing. And this session is about to help you to see where you stand and what you can do. So yeah, you don't just keep doing more of the same, but actual move into a role that is future proof. So yeah, let's keep going. We will pause for a moment for a quick assessment using our career scorecard, and then we'll move into something that you can take control of the change instead of being caught by that. All right, quick assessment. Here is it for you, and everyone grab a pen and a piece of paper. We have a simple career scorecard that will help you to see where you stand in the AI era. So I'm going to give you 9 prompts, and I want you to rate yourself from 0 to 10 for each one. So there's no right or wrong, it's just a mirror. So the first category, I would just give 30 seconds for anyone who hasn't grabbed anything, because I will give some um definition, clarification of every part so you can follow. All right. So we'll start from the first one. So there are three main categories: cognitive agility, creative innovation, and human-centric skills. First, under cognitive agility. So it's learning transferability. What does that mean? So that means can you take something that you've just learned and actually use it tomorrow? For example, you watch a quick Power BI tutorial tonight, and tomorrow you can build a simple sales dashboard. So that's called learning transfer. It's just not memorizing. You have to apply what you learn. It's not learn by heart. Rate yourself 1 as the worst, 10 being the best. And then I'm going to move to the next one, critical evaluation. So critical evaluation, simply it means, can you tell whether AI's answer is right, wrong, or dangerous? So for example, ChatGPT writes your document. It's very common these days. We write a lot of things with the help of AI. And yeah, so with the documents that ChatGPT writes, you can instantly spot the parts that doesn't match business logic. Can you? 1 is the worst, 10 is the best. And the third, cross-disciplinary thinking. What does that mean? Can you connect business, technology, strategy, and risk, etc., etc., into the same picture or into one picture if you look at some business problem? For example, in your company, if you're working on some functions and it's called payments start failing, you just don't blame the system and you will consider, oh, is that a system delay or is that because of the compliance rule or is that because of the merchant? And then what does that impact? Does it impact customers? Does it impact suppliers, vendors, etc., etc.? So this is another layer. And the second category is creativity and innovation. So this part that AI cannot copy. First, problem reframing. So what does that mean? You can turn a messy problem into a clear question that everyone understands. For example, stakeholder says, the system doesn't work. And you ask, do you mean the workflow doesn't work, the approval logic doesn't work, or the permission doesn't work? Whatever doesn't work. And then creative integration. What does that mean? So using the tools that you already have to create smarter solutions. So for example, you can combine Slack, you can combine Notion, you can combine email automation, so your team can finish weekly reporting in 5 minutes. Can you do that? And rate yourself again, 1 is the worst, 10 being the best. And then the next, continuous improvements drive. What does that mean? You naturally see the inefficiencies and you want to improve them. Here's an example. You notice your team recreates monthly reports manually. So you propose a template for automation. It doesn't need to be a really fancy template. It's just something that helps just even little bit. Even Excel formula, Excel like VLOOKUPs, Power Query, something like that. So yeah, just that mindset. And the third catalog, and then human-centric skills, they're being the most important. So first catalog, first item, communication and persuasion. What does that mean? So it's not about talking more, but it's about talking in a way that people actually understand. For example, you can explain a complex integration change to a non-technical manager in 3 clear messages or in three clear sentences. I know a lot of people tend to talk a lot, but if you can consolidate a simple idea into simple phrases, that's one of the ability. And the next, the A's, cross-cultural collaboration. So what does that mean? Working smoothly with global teams. It can be from Australia, India, Philippines, Asia, Europe. because yeah, a lot of outsourced team and then a lot of let's say headquarter and then some other multinational companies. Yeah. So, for example, the Philippines team, they prefer detailed context. And then Australian stakeholder, they just want direct, concise points. What would you do? Can you present that well? And then the last one, influence and trust building. What does that mean? You are the person that everyone comes to because you're reliable. And give you an example, if the testing breaks, UAT breaks, and then people come to you first. People don't come to the manager because they trust your judgment and they trust you're available and you can give them a hand. They just trust every bit of you do. So yeah, rate yourself again from 1 to 9. There are 9 questions. Add your numbers up and so yeah, I'll give everyone 20 seconds to add your numbers up and then put your um put your number in the chat box. It can be I know somebody can be like 50 and then can be 60, can be 55, can be 68, can be anything. Just put your numbers there. So I just want to have an idea. What does that look like? Give everyone 20 seconds. 78. Oh, great. Actually, great number. 60, 71, 57. I've seen a few numbers, 71, 57. Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. Cause yeah. So so that's a really quick one that we can see where we are sitting. And then specifically for the 3 catalogs, and then you can see which one you do better, which one you do well, like so, and then which one you do the worst. So you know that where to focus because when we talk about focus, it's not about focusing everywhere. It's really about focusing in the place that you it we in the place that can improve most. Great. I think everyone already know where you are at and let's move forward. So yeah, I wanted to let you know, is that all about fear? Absolutely no. So here's the exciting part. So let me talk about what the change actually means to you. So first, it's a chance to turn all the repetitive manual work into something more strategic. So instead of just following steps or fixing errors, you will start thinking bigger, like solving problems, improving process, making an impact. And second, it's about repositioning yourself for higher value roles. When you learn to think like a business analyst, and I know it's the first time that I touch this concept during today's session, I'm going to cover a little bit more. So yeah, you move from being the person who gets told what to do to the one who comes for answers. And finally, it's about growing with technology instead of fighting it. You don't have to be afraid of AI. When you know how to use it and how to guide it, it actually makes your life more valuable. So here's a big opportunity to go from feeling replaceable to becoming absolutely independable. And then we will do some hands-on even later to show how you can improve it immediately. So, yeah, I know some people already picked up what exactly is business analyst thinking. So, it's not about job title, it's a mindset. It's the ability to step back and see the bigger picture, to ask why before how. And then also, it's about connecting the dots between data, between system and people. So, decisions, they are not based on guesswork, but on real insights. And then this is about always looking for smarter, simpler ways to getting things done. And then being the person who brings clarity when everyone else is stuck in the weeds. So that's what makes someone truly valuable in this new world. Because no matter what changes, people who can analyze, who can connect, and who can communicate, they will always be in demand. we're at the end of January of 2026. And then you will see more and more these trends because people who can analyze, who can connect between people, and then who can connect all the dots, they will always forever be in demand because that's AI. That's what cannot be done by AI. So, yeah. So let me share a quick story I call it from 75K to 150K. So because this is reality of a lot of people that I work with, one of my mentees used to work in payroll. And she was great at what she did, but the work was repetitive and process heavy. So, yeah, when her company went through restructuring, her role was made redundant. Instead of panicking, she decided to treat it as a reset. And that's exactly what we work on, what we work in my mentoring program. So we slowly turn real experience like yours into future-proof careers. You know what? She learned how to think like business analyst to look at payroll from a process and system point of view, not just data entry. So yeah, within 3 months, she landed a payroll business analyst and her salary literally doubled. It was like, wow, from 75K to 150. And her work became more strategic. And then most importantly, she finally felt secure again. So that is what happens when you learn to reposition yourself. So the layoff becomes your launch pad. So you can take the opportunity, find the better one, take the package and find the better one. That's always what I tell my mentees because that's happening everywhere. So that's the first story with people with backgrounds of payroll. And another story, so from 100K to 140K. Let me give you another real story. So this time from somebody in technology. One of my another mentee was a data analyst. She was super capable, but she started noticing that tools like Copilot could literally auto-generate her dashboard and reports. And that's actually really scary. And then Copilot can also auto-distribute her reports to the manual email inbox. So yeah, that's really scary. And then her company began outsourcing part of the data team overseas. So most of the people around her get nervous, but she decided to act quickly. And she learned how to think like a business analyst, connecting the data to the business problems, improving workflows, communicating insights that leaders could actually use. So yeah, 4 months later, she landed a digital transformation analyst role. That's amazing, and her salary jumped by 40% from 100K to 140. And now her work become way more strategic. And then she is one who helped her company to decide which AI tools to use instead of being replaced by them. So, yeah, that's really amazing. That's what happens when you stop competing with automation and then you start leading it. So that's the start of your real career. And you can see more opportunities, more direction, more clarity. That's all happening from there. All right. So a lot of people ask, then how do I start? Because I see a lot of C's in the chat box previously. So yeah, let me tell you a little bit of my framework. So reframe is usually the big shift. I call it reframe, rebuild, rise, and offer stage. And we start from reframe. And honestly, that's where most job seekers get stuck. And then people tell this about all the time. I want to try DIY. I want to fix my resume myself. I'll just apply and see what happens. And probably a lot of you here, you already experienced. I'll just apply and see what happens. But here is the problem. They're applying without understanding the market demand. And they don't know what hiring managers actually look for. So they probably end up sending out a CV full of tasks, not outcomes. And they're probably sending out a CV full of what can be replaced and what is a lot of repetitive work. So yeah, they think their job title equals their value. Even a lot of people whose job title is already business analyst, they can't find a job. There must be something wrong with that. And they also think, well, I'm busy, so I am valuable. You know what? This is the most dangerous thing. I'm busy, so I'm valuable. But the market doesn't hire for business. It hires for clarity, it hires for problem solving and business impact. So yeah, really, Reframe is about seeing your experience through a completely different lens. So the lens of a business analyst. See, once you shift that perspective, and your entire job search becomes easier, faster, and way more strategic. And then here is the first stage, right? And then let's move to the second stage, what we call it rebuild. Once you've reframed how you see your work, the next step is to rebuild your value. And this part is actually much more practical than people think. Rebuild means, what does it mean? It means to take the work you actually do and developing the skills that make you valuable beyond the current job title. So things like, for example, process mapping, spotting gaps, understanding the pain points, analyzing requirements, and using simple data to explain what's happening. And you don't need to become theoretical. You just need to learn how to think in a more structured, analytical way. So these small skills, upgrades, yeah, they are small upgrades that I call them. And they are what opens the door to payroll BA, HR system business analyst, transformation roles. So really, rebuild is where your career starts shifting from operational to professional. And then once we finish the second stage, here is the last step, rise. So this is where you take everything you have reframed and rebuilt, and you position yourself for higher value roles. So rise is not about changing industries or learning a brand new skill set. It's never about it. It's about managing your existing value visible. Yeah, I will say it again, managing your existing value visible in the language that hiring manager and leaders actually care about. What does it mean? That means packaging your work as projects, not tasks. Can you see that? Before, after. Before tasks, and then we want projects. And then this also means you have to show how you have improved accuracy, you have reduced delay, you have solved problems, or you have made a process more efficient. So this is where people start to see you as not as operations, but as somebody who contributes to a real business outcome. Rise is the moment you shift from executing to influence. And once you hit that level, so AI, outsourcing, automation, none of that can replace you. So yeah, before and after. So now you probably get it. It's about building a career that grows with technology, not against it. So they understand how to take data, how to take systems, how to take analysis, and turn that into a smarter decision that drives some real results. And because technology doesn't replace human thinking, it actually amplifies it. So when you learn how to guide AI instead of fearing it, it becomes your biggest advantage. And then that's how you can make yourself truly indispensable, not by doing more manual work, but by leading the change with your mind. And then you finally have your impact, higher salary, and then you can actually have your freedom. And then you can have your freedom what to do at work, what not to do, and then you can choose the more strategic task to do. It's not about manual work, it's not about being repetitive. It's just about freedom up, and then you'll be much happier at work. And then for those who are looking for a job, you will find a job that actually makes your life, that actually makes your day. All right. So if everything that we talked about so far is resonating, you are not alone. So a lot of people get to this point and suddenly see the gaps more clearly. And the next question is usually, okay, so what does that mean for me personally? So just in case that helps, I offer a free 30-minute strategy call where we look at your backgrounds, your risks, and your strengths and we map out a personalized next step. So no pressure, there's no commitments, there's just clarity. So if you want that, you can scan the QR code or use the link. All right, thank you. Yeah, I realized the QR code is not working, so thanks for putting the link in the chat box. But yeah, before we get there, let's actually workshop this together so we can see where you stand today. And then, yeah, again, I will give everyone 20 seconds before we jump into the next slide. And if you want to book a quick call, if you want to book a free strategy call to map out your personalized plan, let's do that. And the link here, the QR code, unfortunately, it's not working. I got the QR code yesterday, and sometime today I tried it. Yeah, it's just a technology thing. See, we all live with technology, and then we are all yeah, there's good things, bad things, easy things, and inconvenient things about technology. But yeah, so there's always workaround, so you always need to think another way. Yeah, so the link is in the chat box for anyone who wants to do it. Feel free to click that. And yeah, and you can choose a time that works for you. And then within 20 seconds, we are going to move to the next slide where we will do a mini workshop so you can see an instant change that you can make. All right, I guess everyone had the link already. All right, so let's make this practical. And now back to your scorecard that we did 10 minutes ago, maybe 20 minutes ago. And think about one project or task you have worked on recently. Maybe it was processing or a report that you have built or a workflow you help to improve. And now let's look at this through new lens, what I call it reframe, rebuild, and rise filter. Because once you start spotting these patterns, and you will never look at your job the same way again. And thanks, Marcus. So everyone, again, the QR, apologize for the QR code. It's bizarre. But then here is the link to Google Drive worksheets that you can click and grab from the meeting chat. So let me know once you have your worksheet ready. So we will do some quick workshop together. You can just type ready in the chat box when I see 1 or 2, and then we will move. Mm. Have we grabbed the Google Sheets, the PDF in the Google Drive? Because that's something you can put your own notes, and then we are going to workshop together. I'll just give everyone a few more minutes. Let me know once you've done that. You can put done, ready in the chat box. Okay, cool. Let's move to the next slide. So as you can see in the Google worksheet, and then first reframe. So reframe is about what problems were you really solving beyond the obvious task. And then the second stage, rebuild. And then rebuild, was there something that you made smarter or more efficient? And then third, rise. If you had to tell your manager about it, what real business impact did it create? So, we are just jotting down a few quick notes. So this is your first step, seeing your work in the way a business analyst actually does. I will give you 2 minutes. Yeah, if you can't think of an example, let me help with that. Put your situation in the chat box and I can help with that. So here is an example of your worksheet. I will give everyone 2 minutes. If you need a bit help, let me know. If you really can't think of anything, let me know. Because everyone, if you've ever worked or even you're from university, there must be some problems. And then you can, yeah, there must be some problems and you can take examples. Okay, good. Marcus said manual inventory process. Yeah, that's a good one. Manual inventory process. The problem I was really solving beyond the surface task. Yes, for somebody who works in logistics, manual inventory process was sometimes your task is like stock take, counting the stock, etc., etc. That's the task. But then manual inventory process, what does that mean? It means it's a business problem and then from task level, and then you are actually helping to, well, contribute to resolve it. For example, you can say, I help to find the root cause in manual inventory process. I realized there's a lot of process related issues or system related issues, handoffs or double handling in the process. Yeah. And then Marcus, you can keep focus on how did I make this process smarter? So that's your rebuild. Was there something that you made smarter or more efficient? What was your part? Created standard SOP. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. So it's something similar to the reflection question. I gave an example, created a shared tracker and reduce back and forth emails. Exactly. So sometimes when people think about SOPs, there's like, it's just user manual, etc., etc. But they are extremely powerful. SOPs, yeah, that's a way that you can definitely say, and I know in your past past job, and then you could probably just be the one who follow the process. But then if you use BA lens to think of it, when you can contribute to creating SOPs because the process owner, they listen to your words, they listen to you, and then they get what you do operationally, and then your idea of some slight improvement. So it's your involvement, it's your contribution to an improvement that business already had. So that's a great way to think like a BA. And yeah, what's the measurable value or the impact? What's the rise? If you had to tell your manager about it, what real business impact did it create? So anyone else who want to share your examples? Improved efficiency. Yeah, I like that. So yeah, it can be saved for hours weekly, improved accuracy, improved efficiency because in an operational world, everyone's doing things in a different way. So yeah, it improved efficiency. That's definitely it. So yes, so you can see it's just a really quick way to turn your mind around, and then you can see quickly from whatever you do. It's either from payroll, from accounting, from whatever. And then you can find some value inside it. It's not about I've been repeatedly doing this, and then I've been repeatedly generating reports or whatever. It's really about yeah, it's really about I've been doing things from an analytical lens, and here is the problem that I have solved. So let me share the one with you. See? So here, and yeah, now you see how powerful it is. Here's another example. And again, using the same framework. And then you can see reframe, identify which part of your work are at risk, which and what skills you already have that are actually future-proof. And the next step, start filling the gaps with business analyst thinking. So there are things like process mapping, there are things like stakeholder engagement, and there are things like data storytelling. Because a lot of business analyst project work, it's really a lot of project work, but you need to think like that project work. And then step three, rise, which means to reposition yourself for higher value roles. So where your voice shapes decisions instead of people just tell you what to do. And yeah, so if you would like some help to build out that roadmap, that's exactly what we do. So this is where we take what you have just learned today and turn into a clear, actionable plan that fits your career. So, yeah, if you're ready, I'd love to walk you through that. All right. before we wrap up, I see it's 9:52 and I really like to stick to whatever we have promised in terms of time. So let's take a moment to reflect. You've just seen how small shift in thinking, like reframing your work, rebuilding your process, or reposition your role, they can completely change your career direction. So, what are your three key takeaways from today? Maybe, maybe you realize you've already done more BA style work than you thought. Maybe you saw where you're most at risk or where your biggest opportunity lies. So you take a second to jot them down. And here's the most important part. Which of these do you actually want to implement? Because insight without action does not create change. I will say it again. Insight without action doesn't create change. Yeah, so if you know you want to take that next step, but you'd like a little structure and support, that's exactly what I can help you with. And yeah, so if you've been listening today and thinking, well, I get it, I know where I stand, but I don't want to figure that out alone. So here's your next step. So inside my business analyst transformation program, we take everything you learned today, the reframe, rebuild, and rise, and then turn it into your personalized roadmap. I can help you to identify your risks, build your BA skill sets, work on real projects, and then get prepared for interviews until you actually land the role. So it's nothing about theory, it's about the results. So if you'd like to see how the roadmap looks like for you, just drop roadmap in the chat or scan the QR code. Well, the QR code doesn't work anyway. So if you refer back to the Zoom link, if you can see that, scheduler Zoom, and then you can find in the chat box. And then we'll explore it together. Remember, the best time to future-proof your career was yesterday. And yeah, and what's the next best time? It's right now. So yeah, I'll give everyone a few more time because I've seen two people booked in, and thanks for that. And yeah, I will stop talk for a while, and then I will let you guys book. Meanwhile, if you finish booking, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box, and I can have a look after 1 minute. Cool. We are at 9:56. So yeah, guys, I'm limited by time, so I only have 5 spots only. But then I know for each and every one of you, we can go deeper, and then I can help you by giving you a couple of more systems and resources that might help you with the topic. Oh, thanks. Another one comes in. Thanks, Akshay. And then for those of you who already and would like to have a chat, so we can map out a bit of the plan and go a little bit deeper. So yeah, and then you have my link in the chat. Cool. We will, you know what? We will open up for some questions as well. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the Zoom chat. Or if you have questions, and then the link is always open, book a call, and then I can answer you there and then map out the plan. So we can go deeper and then see how it works out for you. All right, let's keep moving. So, yeah, you can absolutely go along, and that's a lot of people do. But yeah, when you're doing it by yourself, you're spending your own time, your money, effort testing things that may not even be the right path. So, it's not that it's impossible, it's just slower and the detour that can easily cost you 24 months or more. So when you go with guidance, you shortcut that entire the trial and error. Yeah, trial and error phase. That's what I really like to say, trial and error. So you get the direction, you get the clarity, and you get a path that actually works. So yeah, if you'd rather move faster and avoid unnecessary mistakes, we can find a time and map out that path together. All right, time is almost there. Thank you very much for being here today. I hope this session gave you a little bit more clarity, direction, and confidence to shape your career, not just to survive the changes that AI brings. And yeah, if you like to stay connected, connect with me on LinkedIn, follow the newsletters, and then get the latest industry hiring trends and job seeking tricks. Or if you can jump to the call, let's map up your career roadmap together. Remember, you don't need to have all this figured out. You just need to take the next right step with the right support. So, yeah, I can't wait to see where the next chapter looks like for you. Thank you all, and we will wrap up here. Thanks all. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.